Hello, District 2. I am Jerica Richardson, your District Commissioner, and really excited about an upcoming event that we have all about cybersecurity. So it's extremely important because we're all affected by it. So I know that we had a member in the community who was very passionate about this topic, tried to get some things off the ground, and we finally said, yeah, let's just take it on and let's bring everyone together. Also know that we have a department inside, our IS department. They were really focused on making sure that our employees were fully trained up and we're taking on those best practices in cybersecurity. So that being said, Kevin Redmond here took the charge to say, yeah, let's make that a formal thing. Let's bring all of the stakeholders together, and really appreciate you for taking that charge. Can you share a little bit more about this event?
Yeah, you're welcome. So October is Cybersecurity Month, and so we decided to work with the Information Services Department here in Cobb County to create an event not just for the Cobb County employees to learn, but also the community as well, right? So there's a lot of different audiences who will care about this. Parents with kids, the kids alone who are growing up, seniors, the small business owners, and just really just the general population who will have an interest in it. If they own a phone or own a computer, this is something that's going to be of interest to them.
That's right. So I think we're going to demystify some things, empower people so that they have a little bit more control over their own data and their personal information. So I'm delighted. And you mentioned IS. I heard we actually have a couple of special guests here today, but the first up is Lauren from Information Services. Please join us.
Hi, everybody.
Welcome.
Hello.
Welcome.
Nice to meet you.
So just appreciate you being here. If you would like to share just a little bit at a high level about cybersecurity, and I think Kevin here will have some follow-up questions for you too.
Yeah, so basically cybersecurity is just the practice of defending and protecting your networks, your devices, and your data from people that you don't want access to it. So basically all the hackers out there. We only want to make sure that our systems are readily available to our users that we want to have access. So we just take all the means of protecting those systems and all that information. We also just encourage the users to protect themselves as well while they're online. It's a job that we all have to do together. It's just not your IT department. So we just ask that users use good passwords. If they see suspicious emails, send them our way and we can evaluate them and let you know if they're good or not.
Fantastic.
So in your practice, have you learned that there is still a danger even if they're taking their, when they're using their laptop at work and at home as well? Like if they're going home and logging onto their home network and accessing data from there, are there dangers at home that they should be aware of?
Yes, there's a threat wherever you go, no matter what network you're on, no matter what device you're using. So we just ask that everybody be mindful. If you're using a county device at home, we ask that you use it for business work and not personal, because there's also a lot of threats to the personal side of things. So no matter where you are, no matter where you go, what device you use, there's always going to be a threat.
Where have you seen the biggest threats from this year? What is a common threat to any of the employees here? Is it like phishing attempts or anything like that?
Definitely phishing.
What is phishing? I'm pretty sure our listeners want to know what that is.
Yeah, so phishing is just a technique that hackers use to pry information out of users. They'll send emails, fake emails that have something that looks enticing that will intrigue the user. It'll come with a malicious attachment or a link, but they won't know that off of first sight. They're just going to be curious enough to click it. And once they do click that link or open the file, that's when all the action takes place of downloading malware or a virus onto the computer or the system that's being used at the time.
Certainly sounds scary, and something that I know all of our constituents should really be focused on, making sure that they're checking their devices and those really strange emails that you get or text messages that tell you about those UPS packages you didn't order.
Yes, you can get those text message or over the phone. All their robocalls, all the random numbers, they can come in any form. So
fantastic.
So at the October 20th event, you'll be doing some training for your employees. The Cobb County residents will also be able to come. This will be part of just a regular training that I know that you do for your staff and the employees here at Cobb County. If they can't attend, what is one piece of advice you would give them right now? If you're talking to your mom or your nephew, you could say, be aware of this one thing.
One thing I like to keep in mind if it sounds too good to be true, then it's likely not meant
That's
for
a
you.
good one.
It's a
That's
scam.
right.
So just be mindful, be alert, and if you truly don't know who the person is or where it's coming from, just ignore it.
Yeah, and a lot of these systems have gotten really smart too, where they'll mimic people that you do know.
Yes.
And sometimes it's just good to double check against that information because, yeah, I've heard some real horror stories out there.
Yes, and we would like to not be one of them.
Exactly.
So you can't stop everything, but you can do your best to prevent them.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you so, so much for being here and
Thank you.
joining us on set. I mean,
course.
we are in that digital era, and most of us have one of these. Most of
right.
us have laptops.
Pretty much.
So certainly come out, learn more, so much more to come out of it. I think it's time to bring up our next guest. So Lauren, I really, really appreciate you joining us today.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. And next up, you don't necessarily think of law enforcement having a role in cybersecurity, but they absolutely do. We've got two deputies here from the Sheriff's Office, Deputy Stilts and Deputy Shalat. Thank you so much for joining us today. And yeah, just off the top, so how does cybersecurity connect to law enforcement?
With anything, well, we're assigned to the fraud and forgery unit, so we deal with a lot of scams and robocalls and a lot of that kind of stuff involving banks and things like that. So anytime cybersecurity is involved, it's usually a breach in someone's personal, computer, phone, what have you, and they allow personal information to get out there, and scammers, hackers, and bad people like to harp on that and jump on it and get money, take advantage of people, extort people. We see it every day. So that's basically how we get involved.
Wow.
So the focus of this event on Friday is to not only teach people how to prevent them, to teach them prevention of these types of threats, but also what do they do if something happens to them? What is the remediation they have? What are the county resources available to them? And that's you. So something happens, they feel like somebody took advantage of them. What do? How do they call you?
So they can call our phone number. They can come up to our office. We're open Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. And they fill out a report, and we investigate the case, depending on how much money is taken, and looking obviously at the circumstances of the situation. We handle things based on that.
A lot of these scams, they rely on them pressing you and making you make mistakes by hurrying you up. They want to stay on the phone with you. So the first thing to do is just slow down. Ask yourself, is this something that would be legitimate? Would the sheriff's office, and I'll give you a hint, the answer is no, call me and tell me that I have failed to appear and ask me to pay in Bitcoin or some other form of payment? So the first thing to do is just slow down. Get somebody else, somebody that maybe has had experience like this before, and just slow and take your time on it.
Yeah.
You hit on one red flag that we were talking about earlier before as we were getting set up, the Bitcoin. So anytime the biggest red flag that you could possibly see, Bitcoin, gift cards, anything like that,
Apple
right?
Pay. There's not
Apple
a
Pay.
single government entity that will take Apple Pay, PayPal, or any other form of payment than an actual check. And again, they're not going to call you ahead of time and say, "Hey, we need you to come pay it right now."
Right.
Again, if you just slow down, you can kind of realize these things. Most of our victims have come to us and they realize, "Hey, I realize I've been scammed," because they slowed down. They were being pushed so hard.
Yeah, just touching on that too, I have to imagine that when someone does come, there tends to be some shame associated with getting scammed.
Absolutely.
But it can happen to anybody at any time. It really just means the right set of circumstances presented themselves. And I know we have a lot of situations where people don't report scams because they're ashamed of having experience or being scammed. And I just think it would be important to touch on that as well.
I think you're 100% correct. There's almost a stigma to it where people, I should have been smarter, I should have slowed down, but that's okay. It's important that you get ahead of it or try to get ahead of it and tell us. And once we get involved, there's an immediate amount of shame. Like, I think we can both tell you how many times people have cried in front of us or have had that kind of guilt associated with it. And I think it's important to get ahead of it, just not because the damage is done to you, yes, but to prevent it for somebody else is also very important. Just getting the word out there, telling your friends like, hey, yeah, I got scammed. I made a mistake. Yes, I fell for these traps. And sometimes it's unbelievably convincing. Everybody from all walks of life come to our office to report these crimes. And I think it's important to get the word out. Share your experiences about being scammed and various things like that. Just preventing the next person from getting scammed is very important.
Absolutely.
And one of the big things that I try to tell people to remember is these scammers literally do this for a living.
Yeah.
This is their job, 40 hours or more a week, and they're being paid to do this. They develop patterns. They get with each other. They hold many conferences where they learn things from each other. There's nothing to be embarrassed about somebody that this is their professional job and they were able to get to you. Again, this is what they do for a living. Sometimes that helps.
Absolutely. Well, thank you. Thank you so much for everything that you do in the community. Thank you for being here and sharing with
ma'am.
us some
Yeah,
wisdom.
absolutely.
Certainly for those. There was one more question that you asked IS that I think would be a great question for them now, and that's what's the one takeaway?
Yeah, if somebody can't attend the event on Friday, October 20th, what is one thing you would like for them to walk away with from this video?
The number one thing we would love is to no government entity, and I'm saying this directly to the camera, no government entity is going to ask you for Bitcoin, a gift card. Nobody's going to ask you for Apple Pay or any money transfer service. We're not going to call you if you have a warrant. We're not going to do that. We're not going to call you if you miss jury duty. That's not real. And a lot of the phone numbers will look like Cobb County government, but slow down, take a breath, call who you need to call. Call a loved one, call us. Find our number, we will tell you. That's my main takeaway.
Again, call somebody. The police department, the sheriff's office, heck, the Secret Service and the FBI both have 24-hour man numbers. And if they tell you you can't get off the phone with me, that should send red flags all over the place.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay?
Yep.
Excellent.
Thank you.
That is some really great advice. So again, thank you so much. It's Officer Stills and it's Officer Shalat. They're awesome. Appreciate you for being here.
Appreciate it.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you. So, well, we've had quite a few visitors
right.
today on set, and really just want to make sure that everybody, that they learn something from this video, but also are encouraged to attend our event, our big cybersecurity event. You just want to share those details one more time?
That's right. So it's on Friday, October 20th at the Senior Services Center at 1150 Powder Springs Street from 9 a.m. until 3 p.m. We'll have folks from the Cobb County Information Services Department, Sheriff's Office, the District Attorney's Office, the Department of Homeland Security, and some companies like Cisco and Splunk will be out there as well to teach everyone how to be safe.
Fantastic. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Be there and be cyber secure.
Thank you.
Take care, everybody.